Is there an update on Boro?
Day to day, and he could be available tomorrow.
How did you go about addressing the situation with your players that happened as you were walking off the ice with the fans?
We didn't address that, I didn't even see it.
Uh,
I came out of the tunnel right away when we won the game, and so I don't even know anything about it.
They seem pretty even keel about it.
Nobody even talked about it.
Coach, based on your experience, what will Game 4 hold for your team in this series?
Tougher game. I think as we move along, I think the games, my experience is games get tougher and tougher. Urgency grows on both parties, and it just be great hockey. I think again, close as it's been every game against them all year and in all playoffs.
When you've got a team in this situation, Guy, what's the approach here? You've got the opportunity to go back to Ottawa in pretty good shape.
We don't even think of going back to Ottawa. We're today. We've had our meeting today, and tomorrow it's just going to be about tomorrow and in the first period. So we're never ahead. So when we think ahead, we're in trouble. We got to think of now, and now is the things that we think we did well yesterday, and the things that we want to make sure that we do better. And the only thing we're focusing on right now.
How important is it for you to avoid those, I don't know what you call them, lulls, or those stretches where maybe you don't play well, things like the second period?
Well, the thing for us about the second period, which is totally different than the previous game. The previous game, we did not play well in the second period. Yesterday, we did not play bad in the second period. And everybody's in coverage for that first goal. And there's a wrister that goes through, it hits our pads and goes in. So there's nothing that we can do about that. And then, we get the puck bouncing on Bobby. So, I mean, we're not going to practice that tomorrow at morning skate, I think. And the last one's a 5-on-3. So when we look at our 5-on-5 game from beginning to end, I thought we were really good. So for us, it was more about managing things that were happening that are out of our control a little bit, which we did very well. And you saw the third period was very good. We were very calm, and same coming into the overtime. So that's a very different lull than I think the first game. We had a lull in the third period. That was a lack of aggressiveness, the fear of losing, and then their systems were a little loose. That's something we can do about. The second game, we wanted to manage the puck better. We did that, but we thought the second period we were too aggressive, running with our third man, and everybody was pinching everywhere. That's something we could address. But yesterday's second period, there's nothing to address there. So it's just mental management on staying very calm about what was happening.
Then I guess it begs a follow-up. How would you assess your goaltending right now? When you look at his numbers, they're...
Well, the series is 2-1, and we're winning. That's how I assess it.
Now, you talked about Bobby there in the bouncing puck. Did you sense that he was coming out of whatever slump he was in late in the season, that this is going to come eventually for him?
Well, we had talks, like I said, the last 10 games of the year. He was playing terrific. He was hard. He was good defensively. He was getting he was getting the most scoring chances on our team. And he's been all year, though, paying the price in front of the opponent's net and being around there, screening and getting cross-checked, and he's been terrific at that. But I thought he's really developed his game into a two-way game, and sometimes while you're doing that, there's games in a row where you're not getting the offense because you're kind of in a transition in terms of your game evolving. And that's where he was in. That's why he stuck with it. And the payoff has shown starting from the last game of the season and up until now. So did he all of a sudden change what he was doing? Absolutely not. He just kept doing the good things he was doing in the last portion of the year. It's just a payoff right now, and obviously I don't want him to change that. Probably don't want him to get undressed, like on that goal. We'll have the garage sale after the season. But, it's I think Bobby's in a really good state of mind, and he's playing really good, and he's playing really hard, and it's one of the reasons why our team is having success, that everybody is contributing in one way or another.
How much did face-off success contribute to last night's win, Coach?
Well, I always say that turnovers, face-offs, bad change-ups, they determine more games than the X's and O's. And, I think we were good in face-offs yesterday. We were good in turnovers also. At the other team's blue line, we had less in the previous games. And our change-ups were good. And I think that's definitely a playoff attitude that we want to keep growing at.
All four
Last-
games,
Last night, Bruce Cassidy called the way the game ended demoralizing. How do you expect that to affect the Bruins team that you'll see tomorrow night?
I don't think it is going to affect them. Like I say, every day is a new beginning. Every day goes back to zero. I don't believe in momentum from one period to another and from one game to another. And the proof is very simple. You know, we were trailing at home 3-1, and then we won the third and won the overtime. And then they came back in the second yesterday, and there was no goals in the third, and we won the overtime. So for me, is the capacity to reload and get ready for the next moment. And so I don't expect them to be affected by anything. I expect both teams to go at the dogfight that they've displayed all year in all playoffs.
all four games last night featured some kind of comeback. Is it harder to hold a lead in the modern NHL, and if so, why?
Well, it's harder to go to bed, I can tell you that. You know, you want to watch the end of the games when they last too long. It's a short night. I think it's great. It just shows the parity, but it's not just parity. You know, you can have parity because it's poor teams playing each other, but it's the opposite. It's parity because all teams are doing well. All coaches, I think, are preparing their teams well. So it's down to the wire for every series, and whether you finish first, second, third, or whatever, I've been saying it all year, just get in those playoffs. You know, home ice don't mean a thing. It doesn't matter who you play. Everybody has a chance against anybody. And, you know, the proof is again last night. And I think hockey fans have never been more lucky than they are right now, I think. I mean, there's been great players over the years, and there's been, you know, when I was young, hockey was great to watch. But I think in today's game is so much fun because anybody can win a game. And I remember when I was young, you knew some teams were never going to make the playoffs, and they were done the first round for sure. And that's not the case now. So I think the quality, the speed, where the game is at now, it's its most exciting it's ever been.
Can I ask you, as a fan as opposed to a head coach, of which play is better by Carlson, is the Broussard or the Hoffman play?
Not a fan, so you'd have to ask a fan. I'm stuck behind the bench having a coach.
Which play did you like better?
I like them all, as long as we're the ones making the good ones. So I think they're all high in place.
What's your reaction when you see that pass? Like, do you have any idea that's coming yourself?
You know, no. You know, I think when you I've been lucky. You know, I've coached Crosby and I've had Stamkos and Tavares and those guys, and that's what those guys have so special. Is that it's not just that one play they do once every blue moon. It's a regular thing every day, whether it's practice or game. It just, you know, out of nothing, something comes out, and that's the beauty of it. Those guys are what they are, and people watch the game because of those guys. And you know, I don't want to be amazed because, you know, it's getting to be a habit, but you have to respect how amazing those players are making the game. I think it's the fans are benefiting from all of that.
So as a coach then, before last night's game, how would you define the term saucer pass?
Well, I think that was a genius pass there. I don't even think it's not just a saucer. It's right on the stick at the right moment. And you know, the other thing too, you got to look at Hoff on that. You know, his timing, and he's been great at that. He's got a terrific speed. He's been an unbelievable player for us this year. And you know, when you have Hoffman on the ice and you have a Carlson on the ice, well, it's going to be dangerous for the opponent. So you know, that's not the only play we've seen all year between the two. So I think it's good for us. But having said that, you know, you look at their team, and they got the Marchands and Bergerons and the Pasternaks, and at any moment they make magic happen also. So I think that's why it's a pretty even series, and it's going to be until the very end. So I said it was going to be a 7-game double overtime. So that's what we're expecting.
What do you have your guys doing today to utilize this time between games?
Some guys are on the ice, and some guys are off, and we had meeting with the players. We worked to make sure that we're up to par in their adjustments and how do we want to get better at our game. So that's what we worked on today. But for me, I don't think we need any ice time right now. Rest is a weapon, and we want to make sure that all our guys are rested, we're healthy. So we'll cross our fingers that we stay healthy.